What is going on, everybody, and welcome back into Nuggets Today. I am Tom Leuthner, and let's hop into the few topics that we have today. The first thing that I've been seeing is some GM talk points, and all I've covered is that Ben Tenzer should be the guy at this point. It seemed that everything is pointing towards Ben Tenzer being the new GM of the Nuggets. And if they want to stay internal, there's another name that's come up in the conversation now. So, like I've said, all we've been talking about is the fact that Ben Tenzer is probably going to be the guy. All signs point to him. And I think that he could be a good GM. I think that, like I said, the international play or him dealing with the international contracts could be a pretty big deal for Denver if they want to bring in some international guys. And that's actually something I'm going to get into in the topic after this. But the next guy I've seen when it comes to the internal hires is Tommy Belchetis. I believe I'm saying that right. I watched the DNVR Sports interview with him. Obviously, it's a Nuggets podcast. If you guys haven't checked it out, you should go check it out. I do listen to a lot of their stuff. That's how I found out a lot more about Ben Tenzer. Although I didn't get to listen to the entire Belchetis interview, I want to go back and figure out what I think he is doing or could do that's better than what Ben Tenzer could do. Like, these interviews are from a couple years ago now. Ben Tenzer's interview, there's actually the last interview that I watched with Ben Tenzer was both of them. Tenzer did talk a lot more, so it was good to hear the input that Ben Tenzer had. I do think, again, like I said, I don't know much about Tommy, but I do think that Tenzer is a good option for Denver. I think he's somebody who wants to see more, obviously wants to see more, a more significant impact for Denver, especially in the draft. I know that the Kroenke family has come out and said, or Josh Kroenke rather, has said that he's been working with Ben Tenzer on if there are going to be anybody that they draft, scouting reports, things like that. And that's something that I said we're going to hop into here. So maybe it does point to Ben Tenzer. Like I said, in Kroenke and Adelman's first presser together, it sounded like it was going to be Ben Tenzer. But with a new report, maybe they don't trust Ben Tenzer enough. Maybe they're looking at alternative options because Ben Tenzer isn't going to be a good fit, and I was completely wrong. And that could be the case. The one thing that I don't like about what's happening with Denver specifically is that from what I've read and what I've heard, it seems that teams are sort of hesitant to reach out to Denver regarding anything when it comes to trades or whether it comes to draft picks, trading for Denver to trade back, and that's the topic I'm going to cover next. But it seems that there's hesitation for teams to reach out because, one, they don't know who to reach out to, and two, they don't know who to deal with because there's no GM at the current moment. So it may point towards Denver going to the draft and, going into the beginning of free agency without a GM. I would hope that that's not the case because, again, I would love to see a GM come out. But like I said, there's also speculation that Denver may look into trading into the draft rather. And what I've been seeing is that they're going to look in the 50 to 60 range, which means Hunter Tyson may be gone this offseason. Is that going to happen? Who knows? Because there's no GM to come out and fully say it's going to happen. Those are just reports. And again, it's all speculation at this point. But I was doing some research on guys who I've seen in mocks that I would like to pick if I were, if I was in the Nuggets position. The one thing I've been saying is Hanson Yang, and I would love to see him, but the current mocks and the updated mocks are saying that he's probably going to go around 40. Now, is Denver going to be able to trade up that high? Probably not. They're looking to the 50 to 60 range just because there's not much capital for them to trade. If they wanted to trade future picks, it's going to have to be a first rounder for 31. If they're going to trade players, it's going to be the younger guys, people like Najee, which I don't think anybody's going to take his contract for a second rounder. Maybe they will. Hopefully they will. It's less likely that it will happen. Obviously, things would have to go Denver's way. But I saw Strother, I saw Watson, I saw Deron Holmes, who I'm going to get to in a minute. But it seems that Hunter Tyson will be traded if that's the case. So the people that I saw going in those late rounds, or those late picks in the second round, I saw three people that I'd be interested in. One was the projected 50th pick from England, Amari Williams. His pro player comp is Isaiah Hartenstein. So, I mean, Hartenstein may not have fully worked on Denver, but he's working right now. He's helping OKC get to a finals. He helped the Knicks make a run last year. And all Denver's looking for is a backup center. I'm not only looking at centers, I was more looking at anybody that's falling in this range that I feel could help Denver and actually be a contributing factor their rookie year just based off their player comps. Like I said, Holmes is still there, but I'm going to get to that in a minute. So, again, if you're able to go out and get a Hartenstein as a backup, a Hartenstein-esque player as a backup and have Holmes, if he's not gone, have your bench. If they're not gone, maybe sign one or two players, then why not go ahead and do so? The next guy I looked at was Bryce Williams at pick 53. His pro player comp is Alec Burks. Alec Burks is a scorer. Denver needs scorers off the bench. Why not go out and get a guy who can score? I know that it's tough to look at these guys because college doesn't always factor over into the NBA, and sometimes people don't produce what they were supposed to produce. And it's tough because Hunter Tyson's not getting an opportunity. Maybe he's not good enough to do so. But if you're trading Hunter Tyson, who's mainly a scorer, why not at least give him the minutes to test him out, which Denver sort of did. But you're trading a guy who's mainly a scorer, and you're going to go out and get another scorer. But you have to pray and hope that the guy that you're going to go out and get is better than Hunter Tyson, because if you're getting an Alec Burks-esque player who I think is better than Hunter Tyson right now throughout his career, then that's a great trade. If you're going out and getting somebody, I saw within the 50 to 60, I don't remember his name, but I saw a Trey Burke caliber player. I think Trey Burke's awesome. I also saw Skylar May's pro player comp. Trey Burke was good when he was in the NBA. I mean, he was an efficient, maybe not efficient, but he was a skilled scorer. So he was good for Denver to get if they were able to get him, but he didn't last in the NBA. Skylar May is a player who went to the Hawks, didn't last in the NBA. So if you're going to go out and get somebody, look at the pro player comps, look at the stats against the competition they played, and draft somebody who's better than Hunter Tyson. The last name I saw here was an Australian pro. His player comp was Sabonis. He was going at pick 58, and that's Lachlan Olbrich. If you're able to get Domantas Sabonis at pick, Domantas Sabonis as player at pick 28, 58 rather, go do it within a heartbeat. Trade two players for it. If that's who you're going to get, obviously, I'd be happy if Denver traded up to 46 or traded into the draft and got pick 46 and was able to go get this guy if he's not going to fall that low, or if they think that somebody's going to take him beforehand. Because, again, Domantas Sabonis in the second round is awesome, and why would Denver not do that if they're searching for a backup center? Like I said, I want to hop into some Holmes talk. And the first talk here was I saw some mocks through a bunch of Denver accounts. I believe the trade was just a 1-for-1 trade, which I don't think is terrible. I was actually watching Nuggets Digest, which if you guys get the chance, please go check out that channel. Guy's awesome, breaks down a lot. And he was talking about the perfect Nuggets offseason, and he was saying Trey Murphy, Herb Jones, who were guys we covered. But this 1-for-1 would be Dalton Connect for Duran Holmes. Now, do I think that's a terrible trade? No, because I think Connect gives you the shooting. Lakers may not trust him enough. They already looked to dump him once in the Mark Williams trade. Why not try to go out and get that guy who's a shooter off the bench? He's somebody we covered before, but at the same time, Duran Holmes hasn't proven anything. So and he may not pan out to be what he was supposed to be because of an Achilles injury. So if you're able to dump that now, why not try it out to get a guy who was proven to actually be able to get minutes and be a great shooter off the bench? And Lakers didn't even want to play him. JJ Redick didn't want to play him. JJ Redick, who's a shooter, career shooter, didn't want to play his shooter in the playoffs and played the same 5 the entire game, which ended up losing them a game. So I think if you're able to do that, why not? I don't really want to lose Duran Holmes, but if you're able to go out and sign some guys, like I said, some power forwards, maybe get Precious Achiuwa to replace those Duran Holmes minutes because they're the same type of player or seem to be like the same type of player, why not go ahead and do so? And like I said, will Denver let go of this player too early? And that is Duran Holmes. So there's talk around the Jazz organization that they're really looking to blow it up. They're listening to offers on everybody. So they're trying hard to move Colin Sexton. Now, I know they said they want to draft capital, so maybe this won't happen. And there's no reports that Denver and the Jazz are talking. But I was doing my research, checking out contracts. Denver may be able to dump a lot for Jordan Clarkson, which I don't think is a terrible thing. The trade for Clarkson would look like the 31 first. Obviously, that's what they're looking for. Zeke Najee, Dario Saric, if he does end up picking his option, Deron Holmes and Jalen Pickett. Now, some people may say that's too much, but obviously, if Russ opts back in, if Russ doesn't opt back in, then Sexton might be an awesome bench piece because he's a ball handler off the bench who can score here and there. Maybe he's not great, but he's definitely not terrible. I mean, again, his contract's a little beefy. It gives the Jazz the younger depth that they want in guys like Pickett, in a guy like Najee, and a guy like Holmes. And maybe it's a mistake moving on from Holmes too early, but at the same time, if you're able to get a guy who you feel is going to help you win a championship, and that's not Holmes right now, then why not do it? I'm at a point where, as a fan, I don't know if I want to see Denver develop Holmes and not really play him this year, or if I'd rather see them trade him and go get a piece that they can to help them win a championship that they already know can do that. So I'm sort of stuck at a crossroad. We looked at some people that Denver sort of tried to do that with. Bol Bol was one of them, and he's a free agent. Maybe go sign Bol Bol again, trade Deron Holmes, develop Bol Bol, let him be a rotation piece, because when he played for Denver in the bubble, he was awesome. We saw glimpses of Bol Bol minutes that were awesome. So if you're able to do that, go get Colin Sexton, Russ opts out, you're able to dump off some contracts, you're then bringing Bol Bol on maybe a mid-level exception, and you're able to go out and get a guy like Bruce maybe, or you're able to go sign a backup center like Cornette, then you have Strothner and Watson. I think Denver could be a force. Again, I'm stuck in the crossroad of wanting to move on from Holmes, but not wanting to move on from Holmes. So I think that I need to do some more research on potential options for Holmes before I finally make my decision on what I'd rather Denver do. But I think that's a fine move if Denver's able to dump contracts, dump Holmes. Maybe he doesn't pan out to be what he's supposed to be, and you have Sexton for a year or two. Anyway, that's all I got for you guys. Hit that like, hit that subscribe button. I'm going to cover a few players I've seen in the comments, but if you have any other players you want me to cover, please drop them down in the comments. I'll catch you guys later.